Alright, I'm still calm, people. I still have my coffee. This is kind of reminiscent of the mess that was dropped in my lap back in 95. Well, I tried to take on the task of actually rescuing someone's actually, from a mind control commune's what I found out it was, even though they deny that, and of course they would, and the state and county didn't want to believe it was what it was, even though the national, or international, I'm sorry, International Cultic Studies Group Association or whatever, said it's a mind control cult in the fullest extent. So, I mean, they've been studying cults all over this country for I don't know how long, and there's more than 5,000 of them, is what I heard. More than 5,000 cults, different cults in this country. So, I mean, someone's got to be an expert at it somehow, right? But anyhow, I'm not going to leave it on here and sit and do a puzzle. I just wanted to point out that bit by bit, though, I will get a hold of a piece, or it'll come to me some time during a nap or while I'm up doing odd job things around the house, and I'll have to line it back up because I was under a lot of medication and a lot of pressure, and I feel like I'm like the only one that's knowing that about that particular situation, because even though she said I had people that could have been a support if they had been my friends that I was at every day, that I wasn't at every day, only in her story, but no support now. You know what I mean? Where are they now? If I had them then, they should be of great service to me now, in the way of helping me get these things figured out. But that's not how it works for me. You ought to know that by now. So, anyhow, and I've done a couple of these this morning. You see, I wish you could see this. Well, you can see the timer on the video you end up playing, but there's also a timer down here. And it doesn't look like I'm logged in on this thing right now. I paid for a membership for 3 years for $30, so I would have access to other features, other editing things, controls. But for right now, it doesn't look like I'm even logged. But that's okay. And what happened was the other day, I did one. You might want to know why I don't stick it all together. I did one and it was too long for YouTube. Yeah. So then I had to chuck that one and get going on something else. But it goes like this all the time for me. I'll get on other things, get on a website, start looking at Facebook, doing my email, looking at ads, whatever, and all of a sudden I'll have a thought about it. And my friend the other night suggested that I keep a journal and start journaling it. But that, I've tried that before, and it would work for dreams, because in the morning we'd get up, I'd get my little book, and if I had a dream, write it out, talk it out with my husband John, and we'd look them up. I had a big thick Zolar's Dream Dictionary, and we looked that all up every morning, every time. Might not have been every morning that we had a dream to talk about, but normally it was for the longest time, and probably quit it though, or we might have not have after the kids got there. But, and sorry for this cold. It's hard to heat this house, and I've got more house than I need, and I'd love to get out from underneath it and get someone in here that's got the bucks to maintain it and do the repairs and But that's another thing. I almost had it swapped that one time with that LLC, but we didn't one up at Belton. Bradley's girlfriend said that area was not for us, so. But it sounded like a pretty cool deal. So I might have to rewrite my ad and put a different price on it and put it on another for sale by owner site. I guess I could go to Facebook now. Those are my notes. Had to look at this morning. Weren't those something? I touched on this next topic a little bit already about how my mom thought we must be doing something wrong to Bradley because kids don't just up and run off. And I was swearing to her all along that's what had happened. And then when she called me that one day, frantic, that while she was napping, he had pulled a footstool over to the door and unhooked it and took off. And she wanted me to jump in the van. By that time, luckily, I had gotten my driver's license because um, after we moved from over on East 4th Street to the Washington Street house, I didn't have one because I didn't really need one. Everywhere John went, I went, and vice versa. I just didn't drive, so I was kind of forced into getting my license so I could go down to Dallas County to see him. And she wanted me to help find Bradley. Well, of course I did. I dropped everything right then and there and took off. And at one point, scared that I wasn't going to find him and knowing what that was going to mean. And me asking the angels, I threw my hands up, angels, please drive this car. And you know when you're sincere, even though no one else is around to know or sense your sincerity, you know it. And I was so sincere to ask the angels to steer that vehicle. And I really feel they did, because next thing I know, I was just doing random turning. First one corner and then the next. I go a block and turn. Da, 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 da. Well, when I saw him, the sun was setting, and this was always like a big, oh my God moment because I had these Ray-Bans on that I had gotten up at the base that someone had returned. And if they did catalog returns, they would end up in the showcase on the floor at the BX. And so I picked them up discounted and had those on. Well, they were built for pilots, so they could see that was their original beginnings. And I attribute seeing Bradley's curly hair sticking up over the top of a 50 or 55 gallon drum. I think they're 55 gallon, those old metal ones. They used to keep them down there at the depot. And I could see that hair sticking up. He had the little curly, flippy curls all over. And I pulled up and just stopped after I crossed the tracks there. And he came running, skipping, and hopping and got up on the running board and got in the van. Hi, Mama. Excuse me, I belched. Hi, Mama, as if nothing had happened. And, oh man, I was so relieved that that had turned out that way. That how could I punish him? How could I punish the little guy? He come on his own and jumped in the van, and I was just so worried sick. And so we drove back over here, Mom's old house, when she was alive. But I had asked her that day, before I even left, Now, Mom, what do you mean that kid that he just ran off? What are you doing to that kid over there? You know as well as I do, kids don't just up and run off. And she said, well, we'll talk about that later. And she was convinced that we were doing something to him. Just like she was convinced that I was imagining ghosts in that old house downtown. And she found out herself. One day she was over there with me and it had gotten kind of quiet. And she heard someone walk up the stairs, which another, a couple that were over there one time, uh, heard that same thing that one time. Walked up the stairs and shut a door behind them. Just as plain as I'm talking to you right now. And she heard it, and she's like, who's here? Veronica, who's here? Like, no one, Mom. And that spooked her. And you know you don't spook Southern Baptist people all that easily. They're pretty freaking unshakable. But that spooked her. Then after that, she had the incident over here that she thought she had saw someone walk across the front room in front of her. She thought it was an Indian guy. She said he had on the decorated jacket with the jacket on the back, back of the jacket decoration. It was either painted or embroidered. She really wasn't sure because her and Dad had fallen asleep here in the front room. And she had to wake him up and made him do a search of the house with his gun. But that's how that went, and it was awful. My own mother thought that we had done something to our precious Bradley. It just really killed me. That whole thing just really killed me. So part of these videos is to try to get uh, my self-esteem back up after being totally lambasted by several fronts. And I mentioned Durwood Guth too earlier. We had to go through sessions. And we were told when we started them with Durwood Guth that after we did everything, we would get our Bradley back. So we worked toward that with the belief that that's what would happen. Well, after, what, 6 months, 9 months, whatever it was, I don't know. It was finally the day of the last session. And I was like so happy. And he's like, no, we decided you can't have him. Just like that. And I broke down in that session. Because see, by then you know that I know we were being toyed with. In a big way. So Durwood Guth's also going to go to hell. I don't care what he thinks. I don't care if he hears this. I tag these videos. I put names. These people hurt me. And it's not just me. It happens everywhere. It's at epidemic levels, the way they do these people. I've heard it from so many different directions that our story is not common at all. Quite horrifyingly, it is uncommon. And I know people think I'm a doozy, but well, whatever. I've got this one life. And I'd always maintained that I would lead a good life. But man, oh man, not them. I want them dead. I'm telling you the truth.